Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am the CHALL Rovers till I die. Schofield's January plans. The talks have begun. Now, before we get started, please do like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell to name this YouTube video. Socials at the bottom of your screen and the description down below as well. We've got a lot to get through this morning. So, Danny Schofield's January plans. A little bit of detail has been revealed. Now, first of all, on contract extensions. So, it's understood that no fewer than 13 members of the current squad are out of contract at the end of the season. Now, the players who will expire, or is set to expire, Carl Noyle, Tom Anderson, Jonathan Mitchell, Roshan Williams, Adam Clayton, obviously Oluwu, Mitchell Oluwu, Clayton Williams, Anderson, Noyle, Agard, Younger, Seaman, Barlow, Jones, Ravenhill and Bottomley. Now, the head coach said we've had sit-downs discussing squad planning, players whose contracts we want to extend, potential players we could add to the squad to strengthen us. I think the discussions will grow into more detail as the season goes on. Now, Carl Noyle has laid on 6 goals on the right wing back this season. Supporters are understandably keen for the club to extend his stay in DN4. Now, Schofield revealed that he does not have a specific number of targets in mind for when the window opens. Now, he wouldn't be drawn on the specifics of what he was looking for either. Now, Schofield did say, first of all, about Carl Noyle, that he looks like he's going to be one of the ones that he'll have a sit-down conversation about to keep at the club. Now, in terms of strengthening his forward line as a priority, Schofield said it's an area every coach looks at, the one that can really impact a game in an attacking sense. They are always something we look to add and strengthen the squad with. Now, obviously, don't forget Lee Tomlin retired. Josh Andrews remains sidelined, but he's going to go back to Birmingham in January anyway. I don't think Schofield intends to keep Andrews past January. No offence to Josh, but I think he's played his last game already for us. Obviously, Lee Tomlin, we know he's played his last game for us before retirement, and obviously, good luck with the golfing channel. Actually, you know what? To be fair to Lee, I will leave his golfing channel in the description down below. If you want to go and subscribe to it, because to be fair, I watched one of the videos on it, and it's actually a good channel. So for any of you golf fans out there, go and check it in the description down below. But that is what Schofield said about January at the moment. Obviously, it's very, very sketchy details at the moment. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. Obviously, we knew the Pete O'Rourke story about Dan Pybus and the fact that, there was certain things going on with that situation. Now, from what I've been told from other journalists, it seems to be an agent-led thing rather than a club-led thing at this stage. It seems like potentially an agent thing. I wouldn't confirm anything or deny everything, but from what they've been saying, it seems like it could seem to be an agent-led thing rather than a club-led thing at this stage at the moment. I wouldn't say any more on that potential deal. Would I think he'd be a good signing? He's a holding midfielder, covers quite a lot of ground, wins nearly every battle, would compete with close. And if Clayton does intend to leave at the end of the season and run down his contract, then we won't be scrambling around in 6 months' time for a replacement. We'd have one ready at the age of 24 to build long-term with Ben Close and have them competing for a place in that squad. So there'd be two holding midfielders there that would compete with each other for a place, competition for depth, and would add a lot of quality and depth as well. So I think that Pybus, for me, in that respect, should be a no-brainer. But, Gabriel Sutton on Twitter, obviously the reporter Gabe on Twitter did make a good point about covering a lot of ground in the formation that we play with the box-to-boxes, and I do understand that from that perspective, so maybe a box-to-box could be a priority more than a holding midfielder, or a playmaker maybe even. In terms of the attacking areas, I've said it on the Colchester preview, which is coming out later today, so stay tuned for that. That I do believe that anyone who could play across the front three would be more of a realistic priority than just an out-and-out striker, because I think, and to be fair, Matt Walker, fair play to him, he did have a point on Twitter as well. Get Rio back fit, then we don't really need a striker when you've already got a lone striker there and you've got 3 strikers already in the mix. So let's go through the 13 players out of contract this summer, and I'm going to go through who I believe should stay and who I believe should go. Now, One thing to note about this list that I'm about to make on this video, and if the players are watching this, do not worry, my opinion will change by the end of the season. This list right now, this sort of yes-no thing, is only at this current stage. Things can change between now and the end of the season. If by the end of the season some of these players that I've said no to improve and show that they can play in this formation, I'll give them a chance. And of course we need that depth anyway as well. So let's go through this list. Like I say, it's not a definite no at this stage or a definite yes at this stage. Things can change as the season progresses over the next few months. So if you're watching this, players, because some players have watched the videos, it's not a definite yes and it's not a definite no. It's just at this stage and what you can do to prove me wrong or prove me right. So let's start off with the two, I guess, or two of the main key players here, Carl Noyle and Tom Anderson. First of all, Carl Noyle, absolutely yes. And I'm saying that with a crazy eyes, like I've just escaped from Broadmoor. Yes, Carl Noyle must sign a new contract. It needs to be at least 2-3 years minimum. But no, in all seriousness, you know, Carl Noyle's been a really big assister this season. I think he's played a really big part in the squad this season. He's played a really good part in the way we play, the way we set up. And I think he's definitely someone we need to be keeping. Tom Anderson works sensationally in that back three. And if Bobby Faulkner does get sold in January or the summer to a Premier League club, then we have to prepare for that. We have to bring in reinforcements in that position. But for I think keeping Anderson would provide a bit more stability than if we let him go in the summer, for example. And I think again he's adapted to the way we play as well. Acting as that stopper in the middle of the back three with Long or Oluwu or Williams or Younger either side of him. So I think Anderson's definitely crucial, whether Bobby Faulkner goes or not. Now looking at the other players, Jonathan Mitchell, for me it's a yes. Some people may say no, but I think he's saved us more times than he's put us in danger. Yes, he still needs to improve his distribution. However, having someone of that experience to be long-term second choice but short-term first choice for a young up-and-coming goalkeeper to come into the club and learn from Mitchell. Obviously not the distribution part, but the rest of it, like the shot stopping and that, you could definitely learn from Jonathan Mitchell because he's provided some really good saves over the sort of, nearly whole year he's been at the club. So I think Mitchell as a short term would be a great first choice. Long term, I think he provides the experience and the mentorship to be a second choice to a younger up and coming goalkeeper. So I think keep Mitchell for that purpose. So I would say yes to Mitchell. Oluwu, yes as well. Loads of potential, great at being a ball-playing defender, has a real opportunity now coming back from injury soon to really prove and really stamp his mark on the team under Schofield. Clayton, at this current stage, and again, Clayton, if you're watching this is nothing against you personally, mate. You're a great guy. I love speaking to you before and after matches. It's great. At this current stage, I'm going to have to say no. And the reason why I'm saying no, and this could be a fitness thing, it could be just a substitute thing, I don't know. But I don't feel like Clayton has adapted to the way we play at the moment. Don't get me wrong, he kind of held his own a bit in certain games, but there's some games where I don't think he's been himself. I don't think he's been his best self. And I know Clayton has got ambition. I know Clayton's got ambition for his career and the rest of his career. And, he's got 6 months now, 6-7 months to prove to me why I should change my mind to yes. But at this current stage, just because of Schofield coming in and, with Close and Biggins doing better in that double pivot together, I'm just going to have to say no for Clayton at the moment. And also, like I say, if the story is true about Dan Pybus from York, especially with York's manager shockingly going, by the way, no offence to York's owners, but disgraceful ways dealt with Askey. I thought it was funny that Greening came out, Jonathan Greening, the Scarborough manager, came out on Twitter and said, why would I go to a club like that after what they've done to John Askey? So fair play to him saying that. But no, shame what happened to John Askey. And obviously, best wishes go to John for his future career. I'm sure he'll get another job soon. He won't be out of work for long, I think, John Askey. I think he's done a good job so far. But no, back to Dan Pybus. I think if that story is true, he would provide that long-term competition for places with Close in that holding midfield role to cover that ground, win a lot of battles. Deserves his spot back in the Football League, in my opinion. And again, would be an interesting signing. And I think that means you're not scrambling around 6 months later for a replacement in the summer, and it's one extra position you don't have to worry about in the summer. So I think on this current base, I'm going to have to say no to Clayton, but he's got 6-7 months now to prove me wrong, and I think prove a few people wrong, because there's a few people out there that don't want to see Clayton stay past the end of this season. Or, to be fair, there's a few people that have come up to me and they think they think they don't believe Clayton will be staying past this season, but we've got a few months now for him to change our opinions. And I'm quite happy to admit I was wrong if he does change my mind. Roshan Williams, again, people will say no, but I'm going to say yes. And the reason why I'm saying yes is I think he works on the right-hand side of that back three. Carries the ball into the midfield, properly plays the ball playing defender duty in that back three in the formation that Schofield wants to play, and I think he's adapting to the way we play. So I think Williams, and again, Williams is like, what, 23, 24 years old now? I think he deserves a chance. Kieran Agard, again, on this current basis, I'm going to have to say no. But again, it's when he gets an opportunity to come into the side and the way we play, prove me wrong. And it's nothing against Kieran Agard personally. I think he's a great guy. I got to meet him. I got to meet his family before games as well. It's so great to speak to the players and their families. I spoke to Lee Tomlin's family in the past. Lee Tomlin himself with his family as well. Richie Wellens and his family. You know, people like that. So, you know, Kieran Agard for me has got to really prove himself when he gets the opportunity to, when he gets brought on or gets a chance to start in the future in this formation, if Miller needs a rest or is injured or something like that. So Agard needs to really prove himself in this formation. I don't think he's been given a fair crack at it at the moment, but I think he'll earn his place at some point in some, you know, parts of this season. And in the parts of this season where he does get a chance, he's got to flourish. Otherwise, it may be a case of we cut our ties at the end of the season. Ollie Younger, again on this occasion I'm going to have to say no, but Ollie Younger's a completely different story. He's been injured for pretty much all this season. So I think when he comes back in the next couple of months, he's got that few month period to sort of change my mind about how he plays. I do believe he's got the qualities and ticks the boxes to play the formation that we play under Danny Schofield, but again, it's going to take some time. So it's a no at this stage, but that's only because he's missed pretty much the whole of the season. When he gets his chance to come into the side and really get an opportunity to show what he can do under Schofield, that'll be the true test of whether I change my mind or not. But because he hasn't been involved this season, I'm going to have to say no at this stage. But of course, that can change. Charlie Seaman, again, I'm going to have to say no on this occasion. I think he's not been given much of a chance at the moment. Hopefully, he will get a chance at some parts to come on and make a difference. But again, it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next few months. Barlow, again, I'm going to say no. He's been caught off the bench trying to get minutes, but I think he'll start to change my mind when he gets more into the flow of it. Lewis Jones, again, I'm going to have to say no. You know, to be fair to Lewis Jones in the Papa John's Trophy, you know, yes, we conceded 4 against Barnsley, but to be perfectly honest with you, Lewis Jones weren't at fault for any of those goals against Barnsley. It was the defenders in front of him at the time under McSheffrey. So, you know, Jones does deserve a chance, but I think he's got to prove me a little bit more first. But I don't think he'll get the chance to do that, so I do worry for Jones. Bottomley, again... Bottomley, I'm going to say yes. I think he's younger, a bit more time to grow, and I think he's got an opportunity. And finally, Ravenhill, he's a definite yes. He's got really good potential, and again, I think that overall he'll provide good, you know, up-and-coming depth long-term for the club. Now, in terms of the attacking options, I spoke in the Colchester preview about this like a little bit later on. Attacking options and priorities in the attacking area does not mean out-and-out striker. It could mean anyone that plays across the front three. And on that occasion, I think you've got to be looking at someone like Ollie O'Neill from Fulham. And I spoke about that name in the Colchester preview a bit more. I'm going to go on about it again in this video this morning because I'm recording it after the preview. But I will go on about it this morning anyway. Ollie O'Neill, 7 goals and 6 assists or the other way around in the games in the Premier League 2 at the moment. I think he's got really, really good potential, and I think that he'd be a really good signing for the club. I think he'd be a really good young player that needs some first-team football at senior level lower down, and I think an opportunity for him to break through would be great. There's a Middlesbrough winger as well called Pharrell Willis, I believe his name is, or Pharrell Hillis. It's something like that. I think it's Pharrell Willis. 19 years old, 18, 19 years old. He's been chased by some Premier League clubs for a permanent. for me, I think if you sign a long-term contract with Middlesbrough, or you go to a Premier League club and then get loaned out for the rest of the season, I think again he could be a decent player. We've heard some exciting stuff from the Borough Academy reports, and again could be really interesting. Burnley are loaning out Darren Costello, but I do believe wholeheartedly that'll be a League One club. I don't think it'll be any lower than League One. But it would be. But to be fair, he would be a nice addition. Don't get me wrong, he would be a nice addition because I think he's got pace, he's got ability, he's got stamina, he's got all the qualities of being a first teamer for Vincent Kompany over the next few years. Maybe he just needs that time out on loan for the rest of this season and then flourish again next season. Which, in my personal opinion, Burnley under Vincent Kompany will be back in the Premier League next season. I've got no kind of arguments to suggest why not. I think Burnley will be promoted this season under Vincent Kompany, and I think he'll have a chance to flourish back in the Premier League next season. But for the rest of this season, I think he will require that loan out, and I think that it'll be minimum League One. I'd be surprised if we get him, to be honest, because I'd be expecting him to go to a League One club. And yeah, overall, obviously, there's a few other players that we do have to do the research on. There is the video coming out at the end of December from the January transfer window recruitment video and plan. Got some big news on that video. I am working with journalists and analysts to help me on this video. So, you know who you are. I can't wait to be working with you on this video. It's going to be a really good video, excuse me. And yeah, overall, very, very good. So that is on Schofield and the January transfer window. Early talks on the January transfer window. Should be interesting to see what happens. But thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you do like, comment, subscribe. And for now, I am the CHALL, Rovers till I die. Ta-ra for now.